tuning in. This is Adam Backstrom from CNN Student News. Today we're going to be covering heroin epidemic that's been hurting a lot of small towns, and just the amount of deaths have increased almost 18%. In 2001 there was almost 2,000 recorded deaths, and in 2010 there was almost 11,000 recorded deaths. So clearly that's been a major increase. Heroin has been affecting small towns and families since the late 1990s, when kids were bored of their small town and wanted to do something adventurous. The current actors would be small towns like Westminster, Maine, and the final actor would be the people from ages 18 to 34, primarily the younger kids. That's because just the amount of cases and deaths have been around them and not anyone really younger, just for access-wise. What started this epidemic was kids in all shapes and sizes, football stars, honor roll students, cheerleaders, wanted to try something new, so they went to the powdered heroin, which is cheaper and easier to find. This started to evolve out of their circle and started affecting the whole town. After 2 teenagers' deaths, people finally realized how deadly heroin is. Many things could come out of this. We can create stronger laws for younger kids to realize how bad it really is, and just expose what happens to you. For example, Cleveland police exposed 2 adults that overdosed with their children in the car, and that kind of just created shockwaves around the United States that made people realize that they need to do something about this because it's hurting our families.
Another story is the growing attacks that are in Syria due to the civil war. There was been recently a barrel bombing on an aid center in the capital. The events that have led up to this bombing is the growing tensions in Syria because of the civil war that has taken place there. Since they are in war, they are starting to do things like stopping aid that is going to areas that are controlled by rebels. Some of the people who are involved in this event are the Syrian government, the rebels, and the citizens of the areas that are being affected, and the White Helmets. The leader of the White Helmets, James Lee Mesher, and the president of Syria, Bashar al-Assad. Other groups can be the surrounding areas that are supplying either side or even other countries further away. For economical reasons, war costs money to supply the troops with ammo, food, and other items that may be needed. In the cost of the aftermath and the repairs that will be needed to fix all the damage that has been done from the war. For society reasons, society may now look at the government or the rebels or even the White Helmets in a different way than what they did before on a national grid. People are now even more worried of more attacks and where they may occur and how. This can make either group grow more in popularity, which can be a good thing, or to some people and a bad thing to others. With the White Helmets doing this and being fairly new, they can now, with this news story, showing off more of how they help can make them grow in size and even get more funding from others to get the maximum efficiency out of them. 2 possible outcomes to this may be the increase in security to the areas. This may make it more difficult for others to get supplies or aid they may need. The second may be an increase in violence from either side, because now the government's targeting areas that possess very small threats, such as aid centers, which goal is to help those who are not soldiers like civilians whose lives were impacted by the war by accident or on purpose.
Next up, we have the relations between USA and Russia. The tensions between the 2 nations of the United States and Russia have been sharply declining over the past couple of weeks. These 2 nations have always had some sort of rivalry since the Cold War in the 1960s and 70s, but now the tensions between the 2 countries have been perhaps at an all-time low. Current actors involved in the conflict are Vladimir Putin and Barack Obama, the 2 countries' presidents. What started at the decline of a relationship between the 2 nations dates all the way back to the Cold War. There was no actual fighting happening between the 2 nations. It was more trying to top the other nation with inventions that they were making. They competed in creating the best nuclear weapons, the space race, communism, and many more factors. Today, however, the tensions are regarding mostly 3 different situations: the military operations in Syria, accusations of the Russian hackings, and Eastern Europe independence. There are many possible rational outcomes that could come out of this, but both nations could one day declare war on one another if the tensions get to a point of no return. We could also see 50 to another random amount of years of tension rising between the nations and nothing happening, but I think the outcome that most of the citizens would not like to see is an all-out nuclear war.
In the past years as Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton was caught using a private email server. As she began her run for president, the FBI began a case to uncover the emails that she had been sent and received. The scandal was created by Hillary Clinton, and this impacts the citizens of America because, as a candidate for the President of the United States, we should be able to trust her with classified information. By her being careless with the privacy of the country and important information, it is hard to regain the trust that we had put in her as Secretary of State. As a presidential candidate, she may be terminated from office if she wins, and the FBI are able to find information that proves she had used confidential information within her emails. She could also be telling the truth that there is no information being sent out that pertains to the confidential files within the U.S.
Without further ado, this concludes this week's CNN Student News. I'm Tyler King. We'll see you guys all next time, alright?